Good night, good night, good night, people. Good night. This is your boy, Brother Jose, in the building. Loose Talk 2026. Come in, let your brother know what you want to talk about. Got some PDFs here up already. I don't know if I don't know what you guys want to do today. Maybe we just read through the dictionary. I don't know. Give you guys a minute to come in. Maybe look up here on YouTube, see what videos I have. We just replay my own videos. Why not? Because why not? Because that's what they're there for. So I'm gonna replay my own. I'm gonna replay my own videos, promote myself. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. You should definitely subscribe to your brother's platform for sure. Definitely. You should definitely subscribe to your brother's platform for sure. You should definitely subscribe to your brother's platform. Like, share, and subscribe. So let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Is this it? I think that's it. So there we go. Share my screen. That's my video, of course.
Look when they wrote it in cursive, and how this one looked when they wrote it in cursive. Because there's nothing to tell us that all of the documents of the Fifth Dynasty look this way. And when we get far.
Give me a second, let me get some. Or what I see what I can make out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna pin the link to the.
In the Third Dynasty hieratic, you can find the seated woman looking like this.
Come in.
When we go to the Fifth Dynasty,
I'm just gonna drop the link in the chat.
It's more like this.
Like I usually do. You guys
always keep in mind that when we talk about dynasties, it is temporal. It has to do with time. But it also has to do with families of rule, right? And why is that significant? Because if we talking about the way somebody wrote cursive,
there's a link in the chat. So you
and you say the Fifth Dynasty, Third Dynasty did it this way, the Fifth Dynasty had it like this. Well, the majority of the documents we find of papyri are some type of official, somebody commissioned. They commissioned a literate person of whatever regard. He could have been a priest or whatever to make that text. And so sometimes we got to keep in mind that if the Fifth Dynasty wrote it that way and the Third wrote it this way, that could not be talking about separation in space and time, even though in a lot of cases it is. Is more or less talking about how one ruling class's documents look when they wrote it in cursive and how this one looked when they wrote it in cursive. Because there's nothing to tell us that all of the documents of the Fifth Dynasty look this way. And when we get further into this book, he starts to detail that even more. So that seated woman of determinative, which would represent just femininity or a woman, takes on these different shapes. How about this head for Tep? Tep being like the head, the foremost, the front, the chief. This is why we say the head of something. I mean, not like that, not because of ancient Egyptian, but that's the same thought. He's the head of that department. He would be the tep of that department. But look at how it was written in the third dynasty. Like, this requires memory. Because there's no way you're going to get a head out of that right there. You might get one out of the fifth dynasty's version, but not too much out of this one. Here we see this eye, which is an ancient Egyptian word, ear. Some say ear.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, link is in the chat. Link is pinned in the chat. So if you want to come in, hit the link. Hit the link at any time you feel that you want to come in, right? But you must show your cam in the back before you come in. I'm not gonna let anybody who not showing their cam in the back because I don't want to get phone bomb, right? So link is in the chat. You could come in at any time, right? I'm gonna mute out and let Smash continue teaching.
It means to do, to make, or to create. That verb can be, you can find it in different verb classes to where it's like a doer or one who does, one who creates. But it simply means to create, to do, to make. It's funny how it looks like an evil eye, but it's just an eye with a long thing at the end. The connotation of good and evil is applied on it by our mentality. But I know what you mean, but it actually just means to do, to make, or to create. But would you know was that? I would have thought this was an ox head or something. I would have knew probably this one, but this one is crazier. So you got to notice this dot in the middle. And I don't know why it has this opening. But anyway, you start to see how this goes, but I'm not going to do this all day. I'm just showing you how this work is useful. Next, we'll go down to where he matches up hieroglyphic text with hieratic text, and we'll begin to see how it looks. But right here, we're dealing with just a hieroglyphic R. I'm gonna have to stop and go get some water. Well, I don't know why I'll be starting the show without no water. I just start the show on a vibe sometimes. And I don't be like preparing and stuff. I just be like, oh, let's go live. But you can find many meanings for this R. The most common meaning for the R will probably be a mouth or just to represent the sound of an R. You see, when they got the single stroke under it, sometimes it's a literal mouth. What they're telling us in the fifth dynasty at Cairo or Abus, whatever, it'll look something like this. So some of them still look the same. Look. Some of them you just gonna know. You just gonna instinct, but some of them don't. And that's all I want us to take from that. Now let's talk about the significant ones. Since we do so much research on Kemet, if there ain't another one word that you could key, you should see, I'll show you that before this is over. I've done it plenty of times. I remember I did it on one show. Then somebody went on Sonetta talking about, it's the first time Kemet and Heretic ever been shown. It was like commission or something. It was crazy. But if it's in somebody's book, it's just the first time that you've shown it to your people. So again, we're skipping over all the knowledgeable information that we could translate and read in a book, and we're just looking at some of his graphs, which is not, I don't advise nobody to ever do that, but for the sense of this video, it's definitely what I'm doing. So like, let's go back to here. Before we start to go into some instruction, we see this says Ebeers. And obviously we can see that this is turned to the side. So there's no need for us to even be trying to make nothing out. But, all right, here we go. But you can see the nature of what we dealing with here. Right? And strangely enough, not strangely enough, but this is just an instance where it appears this hieratic is columnized or written in column. But see, he wrote this sentence out like this, and then he got the columns of those glyphs. So it's like this. If the original text, or if I don't know, sometimes the Medu Neter is the original text, and sometimes the original text was in hieratic, right? And so I don't know what would cause them to just choose to do columns in whatever particular times, but you're still going to be working from right to left in most instances, right? So now this starts to just look like scribble scrabble. It don't look like scribble scrabble, it look like a language that we can't understand. But if we wanted to start to try to learn it and understand it, and we know it starts from right to left, we'd be starting right here. And that ain't even in my memory. From what my memory tells me what this is, it shouldn't be that, right? But I can start to see some glyphs. Like you can see this man right here, can't you? So somebody could say that's not the man. So you feel me? That's why I'm not going to do this without my training wheels on, because I'm inspiring myself to learn it as we pull together and start doing workshops using what they got. And when brothers like Jed and Ankh are available, who is a qualified instructor, I'll have them come around and make sure we're on the right track. But with the proper tools, which are provided in this book, we can get through this text right here because we got enough knowledge of the Medu Neter. I damn near know some of this already, just from looking at this. But again, we're going to do all the training rules work. We're just examining how it looked when you're looking at. This is a mathematical papyrus, the Rhine papyrus. And we're going to leave here at least with nothing else but hopefully the inspiration to get to the bottom of some of the stuff. All right, so here we go. We're starting off with what they call Das Alphabet. I wouldn't call it an alphabet, but whatever. We're going to just do what they do so we can go through and start familiarizing ourselves with some stuff. Now, it's better the manner he does this under, because instead, see, these texts are static. I mean, they're not being created anymore, and the majority of texts that have been translated, they ain't gonna change too much. maybe a word here. Damn. How you gonna do that? It's written with the aim of helping those who
Well, Brother Jose is going to move on to another video. Give me a second. Let me see what else we got here. Some of these videos that didn't do too well. Let me go ahead and rehash some of them. There's a little 10-minute video. There's 62 views. Don't ask me how it did 62 views, but it did 62 views. Oh, shit. Talking about the nature of the language. We're trying to tell you just pictures and give you one second. Is it sharing? I don't even know if it's sharing. I'm just trying to tell you it's pictures on top of pictures on top of pictures on top of pictures. How could that possibly be true? Is it sharing? What is that? How could that possibly be true? Just pictures. It has phonetic we can. Sorry, let me do that. Sorry. So right now, as I say, your face on camera at least I can see who you are. Then you can turn your camera off. Oh no. Right? So there's a link in the chat again. If you guys want to come in, right? So I'm just giving a little chat about Medunet if anyone may know. Yeah, let me just go through some of these here and see what else we got here. Yeah, let's go and see which songs that didn't do too good. Oh shucks. Oops, sorry. Oops, sorry. Let's see which ones didn't do too good. As we have some of these old ones. That didn't do too well. Yeah. Book of Gates. We're back you, and then this would be a right? So let me read the text. That I guess it's, I believe the second one would be a reconstruction. Right. So it says here, in Heru, and Nini ni Awat Rao. Horace said to this cattle of Ra, in Yiwu, Duat, Kemet, Deseret, which are in the Duat, in Kemet, and this says in the desert, Aku, and Ken, Awat Rao. Transformation to you, cattle of Ra. So this once again is going back to human beings being referred to as the cattle of Ra. Capital A N T, which came into being through the Great One, which is in heaven. If you go down, where you're going to see some other depiction. That one was from the tomb of
Sethi the first, right? Now we're going down here, and it says Chau and Seju 10. Breath for your noses. 10. Fa, fa, and Watu 10. Loosening for your
I'm gonna stop sharing that one,
mummy,
and I'm gonna go into.
but
Let me go into a brother Reggie. I'm gonna go into Africa Online TV and get something from brother Reggie. Let's see. Give me a second. Right, oh, she wrong one. Oh no, that's the right one. Let me see what that one was. Give me a second. I don't know what. Oh my goodness, I didn't mean to do all that to him.
Relations to one, right, with a Nuit sign. So this is a comet. So this is a variation. So this place of cattle, right, can also be a comet. Let's just read what it says. Let's just read what it says. So let me just go down. So they give a lot of sources for all the places where they actually find these variations of Kemet. Right? So we know that this variation is pretty much attested in several different places, right? At some point, they talk about it also being a nome of the bull, or a sapat of the bull, and the chief city aligns with Dr. Alexandra Nibby that Kemet seems to be, in some contexts, a estate of black cattle, right? There may be more types of cattle, but certainly cattle. Okay. We go to another dictionary item over here, right? Well, okay, so here they're talking about something that we've seen many times in what they call a three-bis, maybe only a three-bis, but it's sometimes maybe different places where you have Kimware with the cattle and annuities. At least in a three-bis, right? Or maybe other places is related to cattle, right? A community, but in that community, there is cattle. And let's see what the English says. The English says a lot. It just gives you where this is located. And it also listen, that he pulled up is in the hinterlands. Came on and discovered them. They didn't discover Africa. So if you can understand what I'm saying, the African in all of his lowest species
Wow, I'm gonna brother ready finish this, and
discovered
then
and
I'm gonna go
populated
off,
places
right?
on the planet. It was the African that discovered them. They did not discover us. But when it comes down to power, they can write and say it a million times, which they have, but it doesn't make it true. We discovered them, and we gave to the world our culture. And then they have a hegemony. They control the universities. They can control who gets through, right? But your brother right here, Brother Reggie, I did talk to Dr. Zahi Hawass. I don't get no credit for it, face to face, and told him that he is not an ancient Egyptian because his genetic makeup has sub-Saharan DNA. I said that. Years later, maybe that might be important because we are catfighting and everybody thinks that they're everybody. Some people can't see the significance, but I don't weigh my work on YouTube. It's fine. You're on YouTube. You got a lot of views. You say a lot of stuff. You might be popular, right? I don't weigh, because if you would have done it, you would have kind of publicity your ass off to make it seem more important. I don't have to do that. All I have to do is show you that I talked to Dr. Zahi Hawass, probably the first African American, came to his house at the Javits Center and told him, you are not an ancient Egyptian. You're related, but you're not. You yourself is not an ancient Egyptian, so get off that goddamn high horse. Your big nose, your big lips is attributed to the African. The same people that you attack, right? They're in your blood, in your DNA, right? Get off your high horse. Stop masquerading as if you are something that you are not for propaganda, because you're talking to people who actually know, right? So all he can do is sit there and snot and smile with his big nose and his big lips and his hair, right? Because how can I say, his blood is related to sub-Saharan Africans, and if they want to argue that the ancient Egyptians weren't, they can continue to argue that. But the ancient Egyptians, the sub-Saharan populations, they coalesce with different populations from those Southerners, but also in the formation of what we call Egypt, you have to factor in the Western Desert, you have to factor in Libya, and you have to factor in the ancient North Africans, the Maghrebi people, who were dark without necessarily being directly related to sub-Saharan Africa. So now I'm late, it's 5:30, and I'm supposed to be at this place at 6:30, which I'm gonna be late. So I want to say peace to you, Cedric Ortega. Thanks for joining in. They invented Africa from a word in Africa, an indigenous word, Afri. Due diligence.
It's your boy, Brother Jose. I am out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Have a blessed and wonderful night. Cuckoo!